You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Yo, Mike, what's happening, man? Another Wednesday. Feels like these weeks fly by, and we're always doing this podcast. But you know, hey, got some bowling on in the back. Been working a lot,
everything. Nothing good, man. Everything's canceled. Everything's canceled. It's pretty much the news this week, right? Like news broke today. I wouldn't even call it breaking news. I was going to say that on Twitter. Twitter's broken right now, but they're having a bad day at Twitter today. If you haven't read, but I was going to say on Twitter, you know, I don't think it was breaking news that the USBC tournament got canceled. You know, I kind of saw that coming from a mile away. Collegiate season is pushed back to at least January, you know, so that sucks. I mean, I can't, you know, that. Can you imagine being a senior going into your senior year bowling? You put all that work in 3 years, and now you're looking at a really abbreviated fourth season, or even the seniors from last year that lost out on that, you know, chance to go to nationals and compete, et cetera. So feel for those. I guess my thought is, Rob, and we talk about COVID every week. I feel like it's part of the show every week. We can't avoid it right now, though. But if all this stuff is, if USBCs, nationals, women's nationals, collegiate season is now pushed back, what does this mean for league bowling going into September? To me, it's not looking good, Rob.
Yo, like, I kind of feel like there's so much mixed emotions from me, because part of it, you're just like, oh man, this is just bullshit. It's just political, and it's just election year, and you know this, and you want to blame it on everybody. You want to blame it on the government. You want to blame it on China. You want to blame it on Chad Murphy for canceling the USBC. You want to blame Tom Clark for not putting bowling on. Like, it's just there's so much frustration, and in reality, like, I think that people need to look at themselves, really, because I feel like if everybody would have done what they were supposed to have done from the get-go, and you know, social distance, wear mask, whatever it is, I feel like this would have been over and we would have been on life right now. But yeah, I don't want to get into that. That's just way too deep for us, Mike. I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into all that shit. But
like, we in terms of bowling, like we talked last week about the PBA League, I reached out to some people up in Maine this week to get their word on what they think will happen, and even they said, like, it doesn't look good. You know, it doesn't look like it's likely that they're going to be able to have it up there, you know, in just what really is like almost over a month. PBA Action, Rob, comes back this weekend. My birthday's Friday, so I get a little birthday gift of PBA Action coming back on Saturday.
Happy 40th, Mike.
Thanks,
I
man.
Thanks. I know the Meek Mill pool party ain't going down, but
all right. Well, listen, I have an announcement about that. You know, I'm rather well known for throwing good parties. Okay, my 21st birthday party was a banger. All right, your brother was there, Bill was there, Stillman was there, Pelusic, Jeff Butler was there. It was a banger. My 30th birthday party, I'm not going to name names, but a PBA major titleist brought the cops to my house at 3 o'clock in the morning. So that was a banger. And I was looking forward to this banger for a 40th at Bill's. I heard the pool's almost done. It's good enough to go in. I know that. So we would have been in good shape for this weekend. But, yeah, that's right. Big Mike bangers. You're damn right. So listen,
picture.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm running it back next summer. Okay, I'm looking into getting my own pool put in, and I'm going to run it back next summer. And all yous are invited. You can all come to my crib, hang out in Jers. I got a big backyard. We'll be good. And I'm going to run it back next summer. So that's the plan, Rob. I'm not going too hard for the 40th this year with COVID shutting everything down, et cetera. So we'll run it back again next summer, you know. But PBA Action's back this weekend. So I get a little bit of a present for my birthday with some live action coming back. Rob, I tweeted Fox Bet to see what's good, if we can get some action in on this weekend. I'm trying, people. But
dude, I feel like Fox Sports right now to me is like that person who bowls you in a 1-game match beats you and then doesn't
and then
let you
never
go
will bowl
double
you
nothing.
again. I know. They don't want to let the conglomerate run it back. Okay.
Oh God, they don't want us to take all their money.
The corp run it back. Where are my corp people in the building tonight? So yeah, I hope we can bet. I hope we can bet on it. That would be awesome.
Yo, wait. By the way, I saw a picture of Bill's pool. By the way, dude,
So
you're gonna have to go one up on that. If you're putting your own pool,
no, come on, we're not playing those games. Oh my God, with the cost of pools, we're not playing those games. I'll be lucky to get something that nice. Honestly,
dude, his pool looks sick though. His pool looks sick.
It looks good. It looks good. So, well, like I said, we would have been in good shape for the party because it would have been Friday, and we would have been looking real good. I might have had to go down and maybe whip some concrete contractors into shape, but we would have been all right. So Rob, PBA action comes back this weekend. We'll talk a little bit about that later. We're all looking forward to that. Rob, as usual, throughout the week, we took some heat on Twitter. That seems to be par for the course around here lately. It's either me or you getting involved in it on Twitter with various people. So
I love it.
We had a discussion last week about the money on the PBA Tour that was kind of centered around Brian Simonelli's announcement about retiring, and it was a financial decision. And I criticized the PBA Tour for not putting enough money up, and I took a beating on Twitter, from Jeff Rickles and Lucas Wiseman, and I think Lucas's criticism was more fair. He just said I had a bad take, which is fine. You can call me out for my bad takes if you want. I'll still stand behind what I say, but. There was a lot of talk about factual and
Mike,
getting our facts correct and not mentioning certain things. And listen, let me be clear about something, right? We did a whole segment, almost a half of a show on the PBA Tour putting extra money up for the tour this year, right? It's now almost a year later since that's happened, okay? And we're allowed to take another look at things and reevaluate where things are at, especially when you have a guy like Ryan Simonelli retiring out of nowhere, okay, for financial reasons. And here's the thing that I want to say, right? We are not the media, okay? We are not the media. Like, you want us to be the media? We're not, all right? Rob and I if you want to consider us when we were with Flow as members of the media, because that's kind of what they do, that's fine. That lasted for about 6 months, okay? Because we couldn't say what we wanted to say, mainly, all right? And we are not media. We are fans of the game. We are informed fans of the game, all right?
Sometimes
we are fans. Yeah, we are fans that really keep in tune and in touch with the game, and that's where we are, right? So I don't want to be considered a member of the media. You'll never see Rob or I apply for a media pass for a PBA event or anything of that nature. If we attend something, it's as a fan, to be clear, and our perspective is a fan perspective. So, enough with the factual this and that. And,
real quick though,
rules of Media 101. Listen, I'm not interested in the rules of Media 101. I'm here to chop it up, talk bowling, and listen. Like people, and Jeff particularly talks about us being taken seriously. We compared Norm Duke to Mr. Miyagi, son. Okay, all right. Like you really think we're trying to be that serious around here? We put out a video where we highlighted the sync between bowlers' fingers going in a bowling ball and Great Balls of Fire lyrics. You think we're really trying to be that serious? I'm not trying to be that serious around here. I don't take it that seriously. And neither should any of you take what we say all that seriously. Okay? So let's get that straight. We're not members of the media. We're not bowling media people. We're fans that have a platform. We're informed fans that have a platform. Rob, go ahead.
After when we bring on Kevin and talk to Kevin, we want to talk about the burner account that hit me up. I might read some messages from the burner account that hit me up because after my Twitter beat,
is that part of Media 101? Are you allowed to use info from burner account? I don't know. We better get somebody in here to check.
So just real quick, last week, after my Belmo interaction on Twitter, and me and Belmo were going back and forth, but we weren't arguing. We were having a pretty good conversation about stuff. This person hit me up with like no followers and had all this behind the scenes information on the PBA and Bolero. And I was just like, who is this person? Now, I'm not going to, make any guesses on who the burner account was, but I am going to read some messages that they sent me, which were pretty interesting messages. And, hey, if I burn that bridge, then so be it. But, I'm not media, so what do I care?
Listen,
and I'm sure they wouldn't have reached out if they didn't want us.
People got
They
burned.
do got burned. So anyway, that being said, that's important.
Just going forward, don't take us too seriously around here. We like to have fun, okay?
We like to have a lot of fun. And troll, too. I love trolling.
Okay? It's okay not to take us seriously. All right? And honestly, there's a lot of other podcasts I listen to where the hosts talk about things that they don't really have the background knowledge on or the research on, and that's okay. That's fine. As you say that and you make a mistake along the way, I really don't look at that as a big deal in this particular platform. If I was writing for a newspaper or some kind of media outlet, I'd probably feel differently about it. All right. So the conversation on Twitter, Rob, was mainly about this issue with Bolero and the money and then whether or not they're supporting the tour the way they should be. Right. And again, to be fair, they put up $400,000, almost $500,000 in extra prizes for this particular season that never got finished. Okay. But at the same time, there's been recent events, more recent stuff that has happened that has kind of made me question, some of the support or lack of support there, right? So I was kind of vocal on Twitter, and one of the people that responded to me on Twitter, and he follows what we're talking about on there, and I think he kind of generally tunes into the show, is a guy named Kevin Walter. He's the owner and CEO of Pinheads. Rob, we're going to bring him on here. You can bring him on. I invited him on tonight because, we had an interaction on Twitter. And I told him, listen, if you want to come on and talk about some of this more in depth and give me your position in a more in-depth way, that's fine. Rob, we're a podcast of the people around here. We say all the time, if you want to come on, hit us up. Kevin reached out, so here we are. So, Kev, welcome to Sweep the Rack. We appreciate the time. We appreciate you joining us. Nice background there, man. Rob, that's amongst the nicest backgrounds we've seen on the show. So let's be clear here. Welcome. Thanks for the time. You are the owner and CEO of Pinheads in Indianapolis area, yes?
Yeah, and first, guys, I want to say thank you for doing the show. I mean, whether it's banter or just fun, doesn't matter. It's great for bowling. It gets people engaged. We have people discussing things on your show that are great topics to discuss. So, media or not, thank you.
Appreciate that. That's awesome. All right, let's talk some bowling industry, Kevin. Mike, where do you want to go? Because
I guess the place I'd like to start is, Kev, you said on Twitter in our conversation there, because I'm kind of using this as a platform to continue that conversation, that there's a lot of behind-the-scenes financial information that goes into bowling centers, et cetera. And one of the points I was making is that Bolero has hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. They own almost 10% of the bowling centers in America, in the United States. I would imagine that $500,000 is relatively a very small amount of money to a company like that. And generally, it seemed like you wanted to give some background information that might put that into perspective. So is that a fair place to start?
Yeah, it's a fair place to start. And I'm somebody that has raised millions of dollars from investors to put into bowling or in bowling centers, and they were not in the bowling business. So it's extremely difficult to do, and I think that's putting it mildly. I remember a June night at my old center where I was the general manager, and we had just done $78 in total sales. And a league bowler was standing at the counter, and he told me, you got to get out of this. You're a smart guy. Get away from this industry. And I said, no, I really want to make a go at this. I love bowling. I love being around it. And I made up my mind that night that I was going to raise the money to create a facility that didn't do $78 on a June night, right, in the Midwest. So it was a lot harder than I thought. And I actually raised $4 million twice because the 2008 crisis killed a deal that I worked on for over 5 years. But the point is that it's a delicate balance trying to get an investor to get a rate of return, because if you guys were wealthy investors, you don't have to invest in bowling. You can go invest in something else. And I'm trying to get you to come on, Rob, Mike, well, you invest in this idea, this vision, and it's tough. It's first tough just to get the money from you, of course.
So let's talk about Bowlero specifically, right? Because most bowling center companies are like yours, smaller, one center, maybe a handful of centers. Is it fair of me to look at them and say that they are a major corporation where, 500,000 is sort of a drop in the bucket?
Well, I don't think it's a fair statement because of COVID, for one. So I can't speak exactly what Bowlero's plan was and how far along they got. When did they acquire the tour? Like in February? So it was right before
No,
COVID?
it was like it was before that. It was like September of 2019.
So if they acquired it, I guess, in the fall, and then as you get a hold of things, typically there's at least a 6-month window where you're just trying to understand the nuts and bolts of how things operate. And again, this is speculation on my part, but from prior business deals, usually you're just trying to figure out what's going on. I would imagine that even a company as big as Bowlero, when COVID hits and you go to a zero revenue model, that's where things get tricky, because everybody can say, well, we can take a hit over here, or I can lose 20% in this revenue stream, but to cut them all off, guys, it is unprecedented. And I know we've heard that term a lot lately, but what happens is that even though a company might even be $1 billion company like Macy's has $1.5 billion in cash, so they must be rich. Wrong. They have $8.5 billion in debt. And when you cut off your revenue, now of course Macy's has online sales, I'm sure, but they're bringing in nothing like they were. So what happens is you get into this drastic negative cash flow model. And I mean, that's why I'm getting messages every day, guys, about centers closing for good or looking for a buyer. Many of them are just hanging on by using the payroll protection money. Many of them are not even looking to achieve forgiveness. They're using them as loans, unfortunately.
But am I wrong then to think that a company like Bowlero that's bigger, like I said, they own almost 10% of the bowling centers in the U.S., they're not better positioned to take this hit and come out of it better on the other side?
However, when you look at their liabilities and every center goes dark of theirs, which did, I would disagree. They're not in a good position because you start chewing through cash at such an alarming rate. So do you guys know, like a great center, what do you think it actually nets as a percentage of its sales? Do you guys know?
I mean, listen, like I live 10 minutes from Carolier, the old Carolier, which is now Bowlero, North Brunswick. I mean, that's got to be one of the bigger centers in the country, I would imagine. And I know it's one of their flagship centers. They put a freaking Cadillac in the lobby of the place when they redid it. So clearly it has some significance to them. But I don't know. I mean, I really don't know the business of it. But here's my bottom line. I think a center like that is probably clearing some serious money at the end of the year.
But do you think it's more than 30%, less than 30%?
I think with Bowlero, honestly, I think it's more than 30%. I mean, their prices are high on everything. A chicken finger, Coke, and fries meal cost $18 when I bowl league. How can they not be making 30% on that? The open bowling is $6 a game.
I mean, it is remarkable that when you start doing the calculations. So if we look at the restaurant industry, for example, which obviously bowling centers sell food and beverage, and it's a big part of their revenue. But when you look at the restaurant industry,
and alcohol, Kev,
the very best average 15% EBITDA, and that is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So there's other costs. So even if a bowling center did better than a restaurant, maybe they get to 20, maybe they get to 25, some of the very best operators. But when you go to zero revenue, oh my God, the losses just pile up, and you can only cut so many costs.
Understood. All right, so here's my last question to you then, in terms of our conversation on Twitter and just finishing that up. One of the things we were talking about is obviously Bowlero putting money into the PBA Tour, and one of the parts of that conversation was, is it a big deal to them? We just heard our thoughts on that. My other point to you is that you kind of made it seem in our conversation on Twitter like the players and the fans should be grateful that Bowlero put any money into the PBA Tour. And here's my point in that regard, Kevin. They bought the PBA Tour, okay? If they didn't buy it to improve it, to put money into it, to build it, then why did they buy it? To me, it's like, and I was going to say this on Twitter, but I didn't because we were already so many tweets deep. But my point would be, it's like an owner of a professional sports franchise buying that team and saying, "Well, no, I'm not going to spend the money to make these improvements. Like I'm gonna keep that money in my pocket." That's not the way things work, especially in the realm of professional sports. So my question then would be, if they bought the PBA Tour, if you're not going to improve it and put money into it, why buy it then?
But did we even allow enough time to elapse before we realized that they are going to do that? And maybe COVID created a delay. I know it put a lot of business operations on hold.
It did, and I'll give them that, right? I will say that had the season played out, maybe things would have played out differently, okay? But, in retrospect and hindsight being 2020, I think that with what I just said, being the way I feel about it, about owning a professional sports franchise, I think you got to come out swinging for the gates.
If we were 2 years into this, I understand your position. If you're 2 years into it and you bought it and you didn't really make any substantial changes or investments, then I could see your point of view. But I don't know. It just feels very early to me, especially with this COVID thing, because I know here at the Indy Stop, the COVID rumor was already circulating, and then they obviously went west and everything kind of got interrupted. But, I mean, it was like, wow, what is going to happen? And big companies are going under now. I'm not totally just defending Bowlero or anybody that puts up money. I'm just saying that it might be too early in this case to throw stones, since we don't know what their plan was, and it probably was altered with this COVID situation.
But we discussed this on Twitter too. I think it's kind of disingenuous to say Bowlero could possibly go under. I know you disagree with that. We talked about it already, so I'm not even going to go there. They're coming out of this on the other side. Under
in my town today, rumor is, and I tell you what, that's a company that's publicly traded. They have 44 locations in the U.S. Many of them are high-volume facilities, and granted it's a mix of recreational bowling, et cetera. But for them to be closing up facilities and trying to regroup, that speaks to the amount of pain that's out there on the street. There's a lot.
All right, Kev, listen, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to let you go because we got another guest to bring on here. We appreciate the perspective. People in the chat are saying, Lucas is saying that you raised the IQ level of the show significantly. That I don't think that credit should be given for that, quite frankly. But yeah, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate the time and the perspective, man. We're a podcast of the people. You argue with me on Twitter. Come on here and argue with me. Go ahead.
Can I have one question?
Sean Rash is waiting though, so it's got to be quick. He's Hall of Fame, so make it quick.
The television show for the PBA Tour, just theoretical. I had people that don't bowl watching it, and they lost interest quickly because they don't want to see frames 1 through 3. Would you guys ever support 5 or 6 boxes on the screen and the first bowler to fill the boxes and wins $50,000 off the ball return? Would you ever support a format like that, or do you think it's not pure enough?
I'll support anything where a bowler's walking away with 50 G's. How about that?
Yeah,
I won't support that.
I asked the group that was watching, and they said, "Hey, I would watch that if there was 50,000 on the ball return, and they know the first player that filled up the 5 boxes on the screen with X's, they would watch."
No, so I wouldn't support that. I don't care if they put up $1 million, man. There's some integrity here. Come on.
You don't read the chat, Kev. Don't read the chat after you log off. I'm just going to tell you that. All right, Rob, let him go. Kev, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
We'll see you.
Good convo. Rob, we say it all the time. We're a podcast of the people. We invite, I'd say every week, you want to come on, hit us up. He hit us up. We brought him on. He wanted to discuss So a little debate there. All right, Rob, let's bring on our guy Sean Rash. I think this is a big appearance for him on our show. I'm going to tell why. Let me set this up, right? So
look at the background.
I know his background's looking high. I feel like he saw Kevin's background and did some rearranging before he came on to make it more hype looking. He had to get that giant ass trophy in behind it. It looks good though. See, everybody, Rob, thinks that like this podcast is directly associated with Bill O'Neill, right? Because he's our boy and we hang. I got to say something. I think that after tonight, Sean is the leading person for appearances on Sweep the Rack after tonight.
Oh,
so get word out there. There's a new best friend in for Sweep the Rack.
Dude, something.
He's got the Cliff Kingsbury set up too, man. Like, look at he's all, he's flexing. He's flexing hard tonight with that trophy and the jersey. Like, that's a huge flex he's bringing on.
All right, Sean. So we only brought you on real quick, man, because Rob and I caught on Twitter what you're doing, and we just wanted to have you on so you could tell the people about it and try and strum up some interest, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I caught the last couple minutes of your conversation there with Kevin. I agree with you, Mike. Anything that has 50,000 in front of me.
Of course you would. What? Of course you would, dude.
But there's got to be some integrity to the competition. So, like, there's been a whole bunch of rumors about different formats. We've already had a bunch of formats through the last, decade on television. The Strike Derby was different. It was cool. The Clash was cool. People want to have matches like tennis, make it short and sweet, something you can follow instead of boring qualifying games. But, there's a lot to learn through the qualifying games. Don't educate the people enough what qualifying actually means and the torture during the week. So, but if he wants to throw 50 grand out on a ball return, I'll be there. So let's go. But yeah, Rash shows his money from the Strike Derby, whatever. Hey man, it is what it is. So last night I did an announcement. I posted it today. We started selling raffle tickets, raised money for the Striking Against Breast Cancer Foundation, which is part of the Lucy Benoit Doubles and Donna Connors. And, really excited about this. I think our sport doesn't do enough charity work. I think if we did more, we'd get more sponsors. We'd have more TV coverage. We'd have a lot more going for us. But I've wanted to do this for a couple months because the PBA League was supposed to be next week. And because of COVID, we've pushed it back. Now it's at the end of September. On wood will be in Portland, Maine. I can't say we will be for sure, but I do know that we're going to bowl that weekend. That's what I've been told, and I think that's kind of been set in stone from the powers that be at Bowlero. They said we're bowling regardless if we have fans or not. But fans, right? We want to be in Portland. We want the BoPo community. We love it. All 50 male players and now 10 females. So we're raffling off a trip of a lifetime, in my opinion. I don't think this has been done in our sport. If it hasn't been done a whole lot. But selling tickets $10 a piece, 6 for $50. My goal is to sell 1,000 tickets. I've already sold 30 in the first hour and a half, which is pretty cool. And it's for a good cause, raising money for Donna Connors Foundation and Striking Against Breast Cancer. So all expense trip. 6 bowling balls from Global, a couple bags, this cool jersey behind me. You get to be an honorary member of the team and get to meet all these players and coaches. It's really, for me, it's really exciting to be able to give back again in a different way.
So how can people buy chances, Sean?
Yeah, so hit me up on my social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll give them the information to, I'm not just going to give personal stuff out, but, the PayPal information, Venmo. Or you can call Donna Connors Donna Connors and Carol Norman's Pro Shop down in Houston, Texas. They'll be collecting money and selling tickets as well. So, really, like I said, I'm really excited about this. It's something we've been talking about for a while. Global stepped up, Bayside Bowl, the PBA, just a lot of stuff going on with this to make it happen.
And the winner gets that everything there, or that's like a first place, second place, third place?
Oh no, winner will take all, man. It's
all right.
This is a package of a lifetime. If I had to value it out, I guess it's $2,500 to $3,000 package.
Yeah, easy. I mean, just 6 balls alone.
Yeah,
Sean, if
1,500, couple bags, pair of shoes. Anybody can do it worldwide. So if somebody wins in Europe or Asia, I'm giving them it's max $500 airfare, but one a guest, so $1,000 in airfare. But right now you can buy a round trip from Chicago for $275 to Portland. So airfare is really good right now for travel.
That's awesome, Sean. If I win, because I'll buy some tickets, and I'm an honorary member of the team, could I be a 6th man in case someone's not bowling good?
I'll answer for him. No.
I mean,
Dude.
you would fit in. I mean,
I'd be right in there with you guys in the mix. I'd be on the lanes.
I would guess your personality, the way you throw it, I think you would fit in perfectly with the ballers.
Look at that. That's a great compliment.
The pitch guys always got their ballers growing up anyway. So,
dude,
True.
especially if you need a shot for the cheese, dude, I'm your man.
I thought your brother was better than you were. That's what the rumor was.
I don't know what rumors you're listening to. You're listening to the same rumors I'm hearing on Twitter. But yeah, that's an amazing package, an amazing raffle. Going to a great cause too. So yeah, dude, when we read that, I was just like, oh shit, like that's pretty awesome. And you're right though. I think more pros need to do that and get involved with causes and charities that they're passionate about. And it's important that everybody, especially these times, man. I mean, there's such crazy times right now for everybody to get involved and do something good. So if you're out there, man, buy some raffle tickets. You might be able to be a 6th man on Sean Rash's team. And
yeah, I mean, we've gone through enough negative stuff right over the last 4 months with bowling centers closing, people not bowling, everything else. So like, why not do something positive in our sport? And everyone talks about our legacy on and off the lanes, right? I've got some good, I've got some bad. But at the end of the day, I want my legacy to be, one, that I was a great player, but at the same time, I did a lot for our sport, help grow it from the, youth level up, give people opportunities to do things they've never been able to do before, the clinics and everything else. So, like I said, really excited about this opportunity to give to a fan and a partner or, son, whatever the case is. But, I got all these things made here. And I'm pretty stoked about it, man.
Nice. I'm in. I'm going to get a couple. Even though I'm going to buy some raffle tickets, even though, Rob, our guy here, the last time there was betting on PBA bowling, Rob, our guy here, he cost us some money. I'm not getting too deep into it, but
I think the strike derby would have went a lot differently if we only used 2 lanes instead of 3 lanes. That over-under number dramatically.
No shit.
That 3rd lane hurt everyone.
Yeah, man. Inside job over there.
So did us having 3 out of the final 4 and not winning any bets. That hurt too. But we'll talk about it another time. It's all good. We're still going to buy some raffle tickets. Sean, we appreciate you coming on, man. And
we got to ask Sean.
Right. Yeah, one last question.
We have one last question.
We're about to do a little flat 10 list here, so we got to get your opinion. And this won't make sense. It's off the beaten path. That's okay. Just give us an answer. You're in a barroom brawl. Okay, you got to choose one PBA player who's brawling with you. Who you choosing?
If he chooses my guy, I'm going to be pissed because I got a top 5 that's going to beat Mike.
Well, everyone would want to say Oscar Palermo, but when I first started, it would have been Jim Tomac Jr.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. And he gives us a nice transition to our next segment there too. That's good. Okay. Listen, guys, support this. Buy the raffle tickets. It's a great experience. I'm going to buy some, Rob. I know you will too. And you know what? If I win, I'll tell you this. I'm probably going anyway if there's fans allowed there. If I win it, I'm giving it away. I'll re-raffle it and give that money back because
I'll take it.
Yeah, I get to go and have cool experiences like that all the time. So
I'm not giving it back. I'm taking that shit. I'm taking my balls. I'm throwing them up.
Selfish. I didn't say about the balls. I said the trip, the experience. I might have to come on, I'm the only one not on staff here. Please.
No, I'm not on staff anymore either. Come on, Global. What's up? Yo, get your boy on staff over here.
Thanks for joining us, man. Take it easy. Safe travels.
Yeah, take care. Peace.
All right. Later, Sean.
All right, Rob. So Sean gives us the perfect transition to our flat 10. The people know how this works. We each get 5 picks on a list with a topic, and I pretty much mop your shit and make a mockery of this this game. Okay. So the topic tonight is who we would want with us in a barroom brawl with PBA players. Okay, we each get 5 picks. All right. Do you want to start it off, or would you like me to start it off, Rob?
You could start off because I have a feeling that me and you might have some of the same answers, but we'll pivot.
Okay.
So,
all right.
go ahead.
So my first pick, I'm going to write it down here. I'm going to write it down so the people can see it. It was just mentioned in the chat, and I had it written down on my notes here. My first pick is Tom Hess.
That's
Okay.
I had that too.
Tom
I had
Hess.
that too. Yeah,
All right.
I had that too.
Listen, just watch my man bowl. I mean, he punches himself in the head when he bowls. So clearly he's used to a certain level of violence. So I can get down with that. So that's my first one. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, that was one of my top 5. I'll throw in another one because I had Tom Hess. And if you ever know Tom Hess or ever run into him, ask him about the story about in the men's room about
Mike Fagan sighting on your TV there, Rob. Mike Fagan sighting on the TV.
Yeah. I'm not picking Mike Fagan to be in a barroom.
No, me either. Sorry, Mike.
Don't worry. I love you, Mike, but I'm not taking. I'm going with Rudy Revs. And
we're going retired too. We're going retired.
Going PBA any pros?
Here?
You said PBA pros. You said any PBA
right.
pros. There was no restrictions. I'm going Rudy Revs, dude. With those forearms, he hits someone, he's going down, bro. He is going. All right,
I'm going Tom Darty. I'm going Tom Darty. You know, you'll see the theme. The theme of my picks here is size. You know, if I'm in a barroom brawl, I want to be brawling out with the biggest dudes in there that I can possibly get. So that's going to be my theme here. So I got Hess and Darty. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm going Tony Lacaz.
Ooh,
dude,
that's a good pick.
That's
a good pick I didn't think about. You're right. Tone would fight to the end too. Dude, he'd be there with you at the end.
I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, Mike.
Yeah. There's some. I'm not going to steal no stealing picks from the chat, Rob. I'm going to say that. No, but
there's a few there's another one that came in through the
Chris Collins. Jeremy Mooney just said, Chris, that's a great pick. I didn't think of that one.
Especially after
that is a good pick.
If he split in the 10th to miss the cut,
absolutely. Joe Scarlato making an appearance in the chat. What's up, Joe? What's good, man?
What's up, man?
Nice to hear from you. Hope all is well. All right, my third pick here, Rob. And again, you know, you're gonna see the theme here. I would not want him throwing a shot for me for $1 million, but I'll take him in a barroom fight. I'm going to take DJ Archer. Okay, he's got that offensive lineman guard build, you know, and I'll take that in the barroom brawl.
Okay, cool. Yo, I'm gonna throw a name out from the past, dude. I'm going with vintage, old school Mike Edwards, dude. You tell me you're in a fight, you will want Mike Edwards sitting next to you, dude. That guy is
like Native American Mike Edwards.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes,
I don't know.
Dude.
Why?
Because he's a big dude, bro. You could pull up some of his old shows and like,
I
dude.
I don't know.
Mike Edwards, man.
My fourth pick is going to be Wes Malott. Okay, again, size. Size is the key.
But bad knee, Haas. Bad knee. I go right for that knee, dude.
But listen, all you got to do is take 1 or 2 people out, and you're good. You walk into a bar with me, Wes Malott, Tom Hess, Tom Darty, and DJ Archer. I don't know, man. I'm feeling pretty confident. Go ahead. What's your fourth pick?
Fourth pick was in the chat room. I'm going Timmy Mack, dude.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a
Timmy
good
Mack, one. Dude. I mean, with that Penn State football, dude, experience.
Your brother said Joe Tusa.
Dude, Joe
Come on, man. Come on.
Dude, R.I.P. Joe Tusa, man.
Respect.
I love
R.I.P.
Joe Tusa.
Respect. Come on. All right, my last pick. I have a few here. I got a few. But I'm gonna stick with my theme of intimidating size, and I'm gonna go with AJ Johnson.
Yo,
I'm
I
gonna go
thought
with AJ
about.
Johnson there.
Yo, he's got some rage, man. I
Young
can see
bull.
him going.
Young bull, strap. He's into the
Yep.
physical fitness and lifting. Big guy. So I'd feel confident with that crew.
Yeah. I thought about picking EJ Tackett just because I thought that'd be like just funny because dude, he probably
suspect.
Dude, I'm just saying, like EJ Tackett could probably scrap, man. I'm telling you, those little dudes that could scrap. But I'm gonna stay with size, and I'm going with another vintage name. I'm going with the Traber brothers, Dale and Dave Traber. Dude, I'm going with tag team champs, Dale and Dave Traber.
That's a big pair, bro. That's a big pair, especially
could
Dale.
You imagine? Could you imagine the bodies that would be flying across the bar with Dave Traber picks you up?
Dale Traber, right? Like he was the only guy that when he bowled on TV, his shirt would come up out of his pants.
No, you don't mess with a guy like that.
You could see his gut wiggling like as he threw the shots. It was. Dude,
you don't mess with a guy. You don't mess with a guy that picks up and you could see his belly, man. You don't mess with those guys. I would, man. Joe
Scarlato with a reference here. Who was the guy that hung out with Ricky Ward? I assume Ricky Ward's at Bullright. The guy with the
mohawk. I remember he was a professional wrestler. A bowl?
I do not. From Bullright. I don't know. Hung out there too, but I don't know. All right, so Rob, I think it's clear. People can let us know in the chat. My squad would definitely kick your squad's ass in a fight, in an actual fight.
I think honestly, I think Rudy Revs would beat us all up.
Depends which Rudy Revs, I guess. But
I'm talking.
All right, another edition of a Flat 10 for the people. So we hope you enjoy. And we followed that up there from our Wheel of Answers segment a couple weeks back, where we told some fight stories. If you missed that, you can go back and check it out on YouTube. And speaking of Wheel of Answers, Rob, we have Wheel of Answers for the people tonight, yes?
We do, yes. And,
all right, let's bring up the Sweep the Rack Wheel of Answers. I believe we have some new topics inserted.
We did, which some of them you don't even know. A couple of them you don't even know.
I might get taken off guard here. So we're going to spin the wheel, and then whatever comes up, we give you answers. It's pretty simple concept here. Let's see. What are we going to be on tonight? Favorite guest story. Okay. All right. I'm down. I'm down for that. Rob, you want to go first here? My squad is weak. What are you talking about? My squad is weak. Get out of here, son.
Dude, you heard about the Traber brothers. Nobody wants to mess with the Traber brothers. Especially if he could play that Kuda C up 5, man. He was deadly. The Traber brothers always reminded me of the two characters in the movie with Chevy Chase and Humpty Hump was in it. I forget the name of Nothing But Trouble, I think it was called. And there were these two baby brothers. They were like grown babies, and they wore diapers. That's always who the Traber brothers reminded me of. I don't know, very strange. All right, go ahead, Rob. Favorite guest story. What do you got? You did bring up one of my favorite stories, so I'm not going to talk about when Norm Duke talked about being a maintenance man in his housing complex, and me calling him Miyagi, just because I thought that was like the funniest thing ever. Because I looked up to Norm Duke as a kid watching him bowl. Honestly, though, I think Belmonte's story about getting held hostage or getting detained in Saudi Arabia or one of the Middle Eastern countries when he was walking. I think that probably is my favorite guest story. So I think Belmonte's story about getting detained. And if you haven't heard that story, you should go back and listen to our podcast with Belmonte. It was a really good one, and that story got me.
Bobo, yeah, Bobo and Dodo. Yeah, you're right, Joe. No doubt. Yeah, that was a good one, Rob. That was definitely a good one. People should go and check that out if they haven't. For me, I'm going to go Tang Brothers. Tang Brothers.
That's interesting.
Mom winning like $400,000 gambling at Team USA trials, I believe it was. That was a crazy ass story, and one of them ended up getting a house out of it. So that made it an even crazier story. So yeah, I would have to go Tang Brothers' mom's gambling story. So that would be it for me. All right, Rob, that's all we got for the people this week. We're going to wrap it up. You got any final thoughts here or what?
Want to wish Big Mike a happy early 40th birthday. Wish everything would have been able to go, but man, I think we're gonna party hard next year for just a lot of things, and it's gonna be one of the things that we're gonna have to celebrate. Also, want to send a speedy well recovery to my brother Dave, who tore his main pectoral off his chest a couple weeks back and had major surgery and is now in recovery. So yeah, he's struggling a little bit just being home and having to deal with the sling and all that and whatnot. So want to wish him a speedy recovery. And that's my final thoughts. Mike.
No doubt. Irish Pogie in the building. What up? How's it going? Jeff, we already covered the news on Bill's pool. You were late. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. COVID sucks. Everything's canceled. Let's get pro bowling on TV more. So Rob, I'm worried about an NFL season. Dude, is there going to be an NFL season this year? I don't want to get into a deep conversation. We're wrapping up, but is there going to be NFL this year, Rob?
I mean, actually, if baseball goes off, I feel like the NFL is going to go off. And I saw some practice.
Yeah, I hear you. But what happens when, if there's an outbreak in baseball? That I feel like that's opening up the possibility of this, that baseball could get going and there's some outbreaks, and then that affects football and what they're able to do. So I'm just worried. Here's what I want. I want bowling to get going again, back regularly. And I want to be able to gamble on it. That's what I want. It's my final thought. Fox Bets. People, tweet Fox Bets for us, please, so we can bet this weekend.
Mike, if NFL doesn't go off, I don't need – oh, my goodness. It's going to be like the end of the world, I feel like.
PBA better be there to step up. They better do something. They better
better put their pros in pads and helmets and get them on a football field. Because that's what I'm serious, man. Like, that's
God. All right, Rob, we'll talk about the burner account next episode.
Oh, the burner account. You're going to leave people on hanging.
We'll talk about the burner account next episode.
I'll save the burner account message in next week, but some good stuff there. I think we're good, huh? We're all good. Everybody have a safe rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend, and see you guys later.
Talk to you later, folks.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack Podcast.